It's June 2001. Vegas is alive. The neon signs are flashing. Celine Dion is probably butchering a high note somewhere. And inside the MGM Grand, Charles Barkley is doing cardio with his wallet. At a high-stakes blackjack table, Chuck is in his natural habitat, surrounded by chips, cocktails, and extremely poor financial decisions. By the time the dust settles, he's down $2.5 million in one night. And the craziest part, he calls it a great time. Meanwhile, I get buyer's remorse over $4 fries at Five Guys. This is the story of how Charles Barkley nuked $30 million gambling and somehow made it sound like a quirky little hobby. First, let's rewind. Charles Barkley wasn't just a good basketball player. He was an era, a Hall of Famer, an MVP, an Olympic gold medalist. The dude was snatching rebounds like Thanos collecting infinity stones. By the time he retired, he was worth tens of millions. Nike deals, endorsements, TNT contracts. The bag was secured, and instead of investing it into stocks, businesses, or maybe even a nice collection of Airbnbs, Chuck said, "You know what would really hit different? Getting body slammed by blackjack tables for 2 decades straight." And honestly, in his defense, who among us wouldn't want to stunt a little after surviving Karl Malone elbowing you in the ribs for a decade? But here's where it gets nasty. Barkley wasn't just casually dropping a few grand here and there. He was playing $100,000 hands like he was buying scratchers at a gas station. Imagine this. The dealer flips a king. You get a 5. You hit. You bust. Congrats. You just lost enough money to buy a Tesla. Now multiply that pain by 100 every weekend. And while the rest of us would spiral into an existential crisis, Barkley, he's sitting there laughing like he just dropped his sunglasses on the floor. Vegas loved him. Casinos loved him. They rolled out the red carpet, comped him the penthouse, probably sent a fruit basket to his house on Christmas. Because when Barkley walked in the door, they didn't hear footsteps. They heard cha-ching. Now let's talk about the night, the $2.5 million night, because this wasn't just a regular bad night at the casino. This was a historic financial collapse, powered by vibes and pure stubbornness. Picture it. Charles Barkley strolls into a Vegas casino, probably wearing a Hawaiian shirt and enough gold chains to set off every metal detector west of the Rockies. He walks past the penny slots, past the broke college kids feeding $5 bills into a sad roulette table, and heads straight for the high-limit blackjack room. You know, the room where they don't just take your soul, they comp you a buffet voucher while they do it. He sits down. Minimum bet, $50,000 a hand. Because why not? The dealer's standing there, probably sweating bullets, thinking, this man's about to fund my kid's entire college tuition tonight. First hand, Barkley hits on a 16. Busts. Cool. Second hand, dealer pulls a 21 on a 5-card Charlie. Pain. Third hand, double down. Loses both. Starting to feel like when you're 3 hours into a group project and realize no one actually knows what they're doing. And here's the thing about blackjack. It's designed to make you think you're close. It's pure hopium. You lose a hand, you tell yourself, just one more and I'll get it back. I'm due. The table's gotta turn. Spoiler alert. The only thing turning is your bank account into a smoldering crater. By the end of the session, $2.5 million. Gone. Vanished. Poof. Straight into the casino's bonus pool. And Barkley's reaction? Not rage, not tears, not even bargaining with God like a normal person would. Nope. This man stood up, probably stretched his arms, cracked his neck, and said something like, "Hey, had a blast." Sir, you had a blast. You just lost more money in 4 hours than most of us will earn in 4 lifetimes. And somehow, Chuck truly meant it, because for him, the thrill was worth it. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about the action, which is the most dangerous sentence a gambler can say, right up there with double or nothing and I'm feeling lucky. Hey, if you're enjoying the story so far and would like to support the channel, visit dudedivision.com and use code LOSTCHRONICLES for 15% off your first order. Now let's get back to the story. At this point, Barkley's friends, family, accountants, everyone started raising eyebrows. Chuck, maybe cool it a little. And his response? It's not a problem if you can afford to lose, which is hilarious because that's exactly what problem gamblers say right before losing the house, the car, and custody of the goldfish. Like imagine your doctor saying, it's not a problem if you can afford the heart surgery. Amazing logic, really. And yes, Barkley could afford it for a while, until the numbers started stacking up, until he woke up one day and realized he had flushed down $30 million. You could build a small town for that. Barkley built a portfolio of L's. At some point, maybe after a particularly ugly session, or maybe when he got tired of casinos treating him like an ATM with legs, Chuck finally said, yeah, this is getting out of hand. He admitted he had to stop, not because he ran out of money, he's still rich, but because even Barkley's clownery has limits. And honestly, props for finally putting the dice down, even if it took losing the GDP of Iceland to get there. Today, he's mostly chilled out. He still gambles allegedly, but smaller amounts. Translation, he loses $10,000 instead of $10 million now. Progress? Meanwhile, he makes millions roasting people on TNT, roasting himself, and once in a while roasting the idea of financial literacy. Charles Barkley is living proof that you can be legendary, rich, and still make financial decisions that would make a toddler flinch. Lost $30 million, shrugged it off, kept it pushing, and somehow he's still winning at life. But here's the real lesson, folks. If you ever walk into a casino thinking you're Barkley, ask yourself one simple question. Am I built different, or am I just built dumb? And if you have to think about it, put the chips down, or you'll walk away with $14.83 and a coupon for half-off chicken wings. Stay safe out there. Well, that's the end of the story, but let us know in the comments what you think. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give the video a like and subscribe for more wild stories.